Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another silly video. Obviously, you've read the title of this already. Um, I'll get to the shocking revelation here in a bit, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But let's go ahead and we're gonna start this trip down this quick trip down memory lane about 10 years ago. We're going to take a look at a few pictures from roughly 2008 when I turned 30. So, first picture we're going to take a good look at. I believe that was taken on my 30th birthday. Lovely photo of me there. I had some pretty stylish spectacles on that day, if I do say so myself. The animal you see there in the photo sadly has passed on at this point. He passed in 2013. He was really unusual for a Chihuahua. He was incredibly sweet, good-natured dog. He loved everyone. The Chihuahua that I have now is definitely not like that. He's very stereotypical. He pretty much only likes my wife and kind of hates everyone else. So, but yeah, I just thought this would be a nice way to show off. And back then, if you look at my face there, yep, I was already showing a few signs of aging. You can see the lines in the forehead. Yeah. But I definitely look a bit younger back then, considering we're going back 10 years. So that's picture number 1 from that era. Now we're going to take a look at picture number 2. This one, you get a nice, lovely, ignore the nostrils. I didn't even notice that. This is from, roughly the same time period. There I am playing a guitar, or trying to. I was probably playing, like, the one chord that I know or something. I don't know. That would have been at my father-in-law's house, it looks like. And my wife has kind of 2 sets of parents, and her parents split up. And she doesn't really speak to her father anymore, which is the home that you can see right there. And the reason she doesn't really speak to him anymore is because, unfortunately, of his wife and the way she behaved. She behaved very poorly. So it's kind of a shame, the way his wife, he drove a wedge between her father and basically all of his kids. So that's kind of a shame, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. Lovely photo there. And we're about to get into the shocking revelation here in a moment, and kind of the reason that I decided to make this video in the first place. To give you a little bit of background, I was recently just going through stuff in my basement, and I was like, I found some old, undeveloped, I guess, 33 millimeter. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I've worked with film of any sort. I don't know if it's 33 or 35 millimeter. Whatever was common in the cheap Kodak cameras before digital took over, that's what it was. I found 2 rolls that were bought, back in the late 90s. They were my parents'. I just happened to find the things, and I thought it was interesting. So took them to Walgreens to get them processed. And, well, the image quality turned out incredibly poorly. So if you have undeveloped film from that time, it may or may not be worth it to get it developed for you. Because if you do, you can expect, and here comes the shocking revelation, you can expect roughly this level of image quality, which is really bad. Yes, you can tell what things are in the photo, but they are definitely not clear. So what's the shocking revelation? Well, the shocking revelation is right here. I bet you can guess who that is. This is circa, what year was this? either 99 or 2000. So we're going back quite a way. But you notice there's this foreign thing on this person's head. It's this thing called hair. So the shocking revelation is, at one point I did actually have hair. That's me on the right there, and that's my dad on the left. My dad's not dead, at least not as far as I know. I haven't seen my dad since 2013. I've told the story on this channel a number of times, but basically my parents split up, and when that happened, my dad kind of went off in his own direction, and I really haven't seen him since. Which is a shame, because growing up, I had a really good relationship with him. There I am as a young adult, and I had, still had a really good relationship with him, and I really have no animosity towards him whatsoever. So it's just the way things turned out, and it's a crying shame. Where I'm located, this was actually my grandparents' home. Both my grandparents have passed on at this point. My grandfather passed in 97, and my grandmother passed in 2004. So unfortunately, this is, either 4 or 5 years, I guess, this is a couple of years after my grandfather passed, and a couple of years before my grandmother did. And looking at this picture, despite its poor image quality, does bring back kind of a flood of memories, obviously. I remember their living room set up really well. You can kind of see a clock there. I definitely remember that clock. Everything. There's a picture of. You can't really tell it, and the image quality is so bad you can't make out anything. But that's a group of pictures that was taken with on my grandparents' 50th wedding anniversary. So it's interesting stuff. At least it's interesting to me. I know this may not be interesting to everyone, but if you zoom in on my face here, and what's funny is how massive I look compared to my dad. I think it's a little bit exaggerated because he's laying back and I'm sitting up more, but whatever. I am several inches taller than my dad, and obviously a bit broader, but you can't see my face particularly well, but you can definitely tell at one point, yes, folks, at one point, I was not yet the bald metal nerd. Wasn't born that way. It's just something that, ironically, when this picture was taken, I was with my ex-wife at the time, and what's funny is when we split up in 2005, I never shaved my head prior to that, but when we split up in 2005, that's when it started. And my hair probably had very slightly thinned by this point. I mean, you obviously can't see very much in this picture because it's such a poor photo. But I'm sure my hair was already starting to, go tiny bit at that point. It still looks pretty good, I guess. But even back then, I think it was starting to perhaps have a little bit of distress. So, like I said, this is just a totally random video, not really super related to much of my channel, but I guess we could talk about the decay of analog mediums versus digital. Obviously, this was originally an analog medium, right? And it sat too long, and, well, this is the result. I have plenty of photos, though, that were developed on film that still look perfect, right? I actually have some really good photos of my grandparents and parents and myself, but they're not digital. They're, from this era, they're, actually, they were developed, right? And I still have them, and they look perfect. They don't look like this. They're not faded, and you can't see anything. So, it's interesting over time. Analog stuff can definitely deteriorate to a point where it's not usable, whereas if digital stuff deteriorates, it's just unreadable. So I don't know which is worse, digital or analog decay, because, yeah, this is terrible, but you can still see, quote, information from it, whereas if digital stuff goes bad, not so good anymore. So I just kind of wanted to show this dichotomy because obviously those pictures you saw of me from age 30, digital technology was obviously widely available, and both of those pictures I showed off were obviously originally taken. I think that's before I had a smartphone, so I'm assuming those pictures were just taken with a digital camera, and obviously the image quality is still perfect even now. You know, so anyway, I know just all over the place. Just wanted to take a little bit of a trip down memory lane with you guys just for fun. So anyway, that's it. If you like this, thumbs up. If you hate me, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Live long and prosper.